personal vlog on Focus Media SA. Of course, on Focus Media SA, it's not only the navigate that we offer to our followers, subscribers, and viewers at home, but we also offer quite a plethora of programming, including and very interestingly coming up on Let's Look at It Once Again with JT Tebehadi. Of course, we are bringing in guests, very interesting guests, people of interest in the region where I am. We are coming live to you right now from East London, and it's very raining today. In fact, I took some shots earlier on before I started this, so I'm gonna just cue that in and play that for you so that you can see rainy situation outside here in East London. And of course, at the same time, it's what is welcome because the rain is good to address the question of water scarcity that our country has become. We need rain all around. And having said that, please do not forget to subscribe, as I said earlier on, to this channel. Let me just get right down to it. Why did I come live? I came live today because I want to keep this real, short, sweet, to the point, unedited, and of course unfiltered, because it's about time, South Africans. I'm worried that 2024 is the year of elections, and if you are a South African and you've been in this country long enough, you would know that when that time comes, as we have been reminded last week in Pretoria and right here in East London in the Eastern Cape, where destruction of property in the name of a protest for what is rightful for those who are protesting, and the fact that that spills over to private citizens who are not part of this battle that is going on. People's cars were stoned, people's private properties were destroyed in the name of people wanting what belongs to them. So we are in that space. Pretty much we are going to find that we're hearing more often than not people that are fighting for their rights, and in the process of fighting for their rights, they are going to be destroying the rights that they already have obtained, sorry about that. But not only that, they are going to be fighting for their rights and stomping all over other people's rights at the same time. So what this means is, and why I actually came live about this, because I was on one of the radio stations live on air talking about this issue of being overly sensitive when one caller would make a call and say that it's high time, in particular South Africans of my skin color, took responsibility for their lives and stopped blaming this over-glorified apartheid time. And people get all up in arms and get all furious and say, no, let us hold on to our go-to place of crying. We get excited when we blame everything in our lives for even the things that we do ourselves. It's all because of somebody. It's all because of something else, and it's nothing about me. And I felt that it's very easy to talk about that, to talk about these kinds of things and say, but you have to understand the reason why we have people behaving in this way is that they cannot help it. They are the victims of this and that. That victim mentality that we have is the worst thing that we are having to deal with than even apartheid itself. And there is nothing that is more disheartening than seeing a person or a people that have such an enormous ability, such enormous capability, such enormous potential, moving away from what they have and going to run after what they don't have. it is really disheartening. And I remember at some point I said, it gets so frustrated. There goes English. Gets so frustrating when you see a person that is perfectly capable of turning their life around, and you see that person doing the opposite and not wanting to take responsibility for their own life, not wanting to take responsibility for their own actions. And that on its own becomes a big problem. And a lot of the times, and this is what normally happens when you talk the way I'm speaking right now, there's probably already 1,000 people that are standing by to actually hurl insults, to start, checking out stuff that will destroy me and put me down just so that they can shut me down. And that has been the way we treat around issues of development and issues of growth. And I'm here today on the Navigate because over the years, I've satisfied myself that there is no man and there is no woman that can liberate me. There is no man, there is no woman that can liberate my people except my people liberate themselves. There is no man, woman, or any institution that can liberate me more than I can liberate myself. And that comes with a lot of responsibility. That comes with a lot of highs and lows. More than anything, it comes with the responsibility to always check what my role is in my own personal development and my own personal well-being. It all comes down to me. Now, one of the worst things that we can do as a people, that I can do for myself, is to blame everybody else for my demise and spend years spending time and spending every little second that I have blaming somebody else for the reasons why I do not progress in life, why I'm not becoming better and making myself and my situation better than it was the previous day. Because I can tell you now, it's much easier, and really it is much easier to go into a self-destruction mode of pity party than it is to stand up, put your man pants on, and face whatever challenges that are there, adversities that are there. And I'm not making light of the hardships. I'm not making light of the challenges. I'm not making light of the reality of the impact of the socioeconomic conditions and the impact of that on the ordinary people. I'm not making light of that. But zooming in so much into that and amplifying that without bringing about the possibility of grabbing hold of the line to actually turn things around once and for all, it's not going to help anybody. It's just going to maintain the status quo. And I can tell you right now, there's quite a lot of South Africans who I believe and I know that they are not talking, and they're not going to talk, because you might as well keep quiet and mind your business, right? And let your life go where you want it to go, because advising people may just be the thing that will, inadvertently attract enemies for you, and people that will hate on you and that will do everything to destroy you, because there is this hunger and inclination to reject practical advice and rather stay with people who say that, yes, you are entitled. Yes, you are entitled. Oh, it was not your fault. Oh, you had no role in it. Oh, you had no part in it. Oh, yes, someone might have done something because of you, but then, hey, it's not you who did it, so you're absolved from instance. It's much easier to go into that space, but that is the exact type of a thing that, and I have said this before, that it is the currency of politicians, because at the end of the day, South Africans are the ones that are burning the streets. That are burning the tires on the streets and actually destroying the streets and destroying the infrastructure, their very own infrastructure, by the way, because as you would know that the government does not come into our areas. They only come in when they're going to be giving us plastics of sponsored food that is close to expiry date, and to say that they're doing that in the interest of the well-being of the South African, that they're only going to come in at that particular time. But more than half the times, the streets that are having potholes, it's you and me who are actually having to dodge those potholes. More than half the times, it's you and me who have to sleep without water, without knowing if we're going to wake up with water the following day, or who's going to be waking up without electricity the following day, who are not going to be able to go and do business because there is no electricity, who's actually going to struggle to get to work because there is no transport in places where we're living, who are actually going to struggle with just simple issues of bread and butter in the house because prices are going up left, right, and center, and the strength of our currency is going to the dogs. You and I are going to have to deal with that, whether we want to bury our heads in sand and let our blessed behind be out in the air. It's neither here nor there. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't change any difference. It doesn't make our situation any better. If anything, it makes it worse. And what becomes even more, disheartening about this whole thing is the fact that we are not doing this to ourselves, but we are doing it to our children, because we are stealing away their chances of being better in the future. And we continue to isolate them from the things that are important for them to build where we left off. Because if our kids are going to build from where we left off, it means that they're starting from the shambles. And I'm very much aware of the fact that I'm actually even talking to the people who are not, part of the let's go and destroy in order to get attention crew. I might be talking to that. I might not be talking to those. But here is the thing. At the end of the day, the more we speak truth to ourselves, it's all well and good to speak truth to everybody. But the minute we speak truth to ourselves, believe me, we have just started taking back mandla. We have started taking back our power, because it is when I speak truth to myself, it's when I acknowledge that Duisagala paya na paya, I'm struggling with this and that. It's only when I acknowledge that I can be better prepared to do something about it effectively, so that where I lack, I can find something to compensate and make my life better. It's only when I can truly sit down and see what my role is in making my life what it has to be in accordance with what I'm having in my head. And when everything has been said and done, you wonder, why am I making this video? It is my dream, it is my prayer that when you have watched this and you've listened to this, that when you get out of this broadcast, two things. Number one, that we can go into a mode of taking power back to ourselves and saying, what is my personal responsibility in my life? What kind of community do I want to live in? And if I want to live in a community that is tarred, the very first thing to start with is, if there's already tar in that space, I must protect that tar, because in the meantime, whilst I fight for my genuine rights for other things, that tar, I still need it, and that tar is mine. That's the first thing. And the second thing is how I wish we could spread this to ourselves, to our brothers, to our sisters, to our families, to our comrades, to our companions, to our fellow citizens, and to our colleagues at work, to say, guys, it doesn't matter how much money we're getting paid at the end of the day. If we're fighting for a raise and we get that raise is useless, because you get 1,000 rands now and the price of petrol and everything else go up because of our own irresponsible actions. because we go and back at the wrong tree. And that 1,000 rands has not added any value. In fact, it has made things worse. And more than half the times in South Africa, my experience is that when prices of food go up because of petrol and every other thing, when those things come down, the petrol and the currency become stronger, the price of food does not come down. If anything, what they do, they reduce the quantity of what it was that you used to get in one package. And that's exactly what is happening. And those are the fights and the battles that we are supposed to be fighting as South Africans, and deal with those particular battles intelligently instead of being used by people who absolutely have no interest in our well-being as the ordinary working class, the ordinary people in the townships and the places where we're coming from. Because we all coming from the same places, whether it be different in terms of the maps, the pin maps on the on the globe. It doesn't matter. Fact of the matter is that we have one South Africa, and we are responsible for that one South Africa. And if we don't take control of that one South Africa in a most responsible way, we have no chance of ever seeing the peace and the true freedom that we say we're fighting for. So that becomes a pie in the sky. So, having said that, we have a responsibility. The government has its own responsibility. Whether it's doing what it's supposed to be doing or not, it's not the purpose of this broadcast. The purpose of this broadcast is to say that we know our government. We know what we have been with our government. But more importantly, do we know what our power and our expected way of relating to our government is or is supposed to be like? Because if we don't know that, we're going to be blaming the government is going to be blaming apartheid, and apartheid is going to be blaming it back to say, well, we gave you good infrastructure and you destroyed it and all of that. And we're going to be talking about corruption and things like that. It doesn't matter how many times we talk about corruption. If we're not going to do anything about what we can do something about and try to go for things that are way out of our reach, we just huffing and puffing smoke. Nothing ever will come out of it. It is my prayer, it's my wish that we have less South Africans leaving the country because of hopelessness. It is my wish. But at the same time, I do not see myself stopping someone from leaving the country because they cannot handle the downward spiral that our country is currently embroiled in. I cannot do that because right now I don't have anything to offer as an advice. So then what is an alternative except to say that if you are in South Africa and you cannot go out to Dubai and stay in Dubai like others, and maybe go and stay in Mauritius because of the practical hindrances and limitations, well, you and I are stuck in South Africa for a reason. And we're stuck in South Africa. We can choose and decide the kind of South Africa that we want. I've seen that in South Africa, we are able to put up one heck of a fight. We can do that. More than half the times, the fight that we put up is often misdirected. If we can direct the fights and stop being overly sensitive about what apartheid did and all of that. I hate apartheid with everything that I have, but I'm not going to empower apartheid and disempower myself by blaming apartheid for everything, even things that I can do for myself. I'm not going to do that. And I hope that all South Africans, at least most South Africans, most South Africans can do the same and actually say that genoeg is genoeg, enough is enough, until such time, we still have a lot to deal with and we still have a long way to go. And perhaps the first way to start is, if we protest, let's go to the people that we're protesting against and not throw stones at people that have got nothing to do with the people that are holding back matters of service delivery in the offices there, people that keep turning people back instead of serving them. We should go to those people. We should go to those offices and not destroy other people's properties. Please, South Africans. Let us grow. Let us be more intelligent than that. This is just my thinking space. I'm JT. This is the Navigate. God bless.